So I've got a question for you, Dave. Science fiction, as it is now, compared to, say, as it was like 20 or 30 years ago, which would you say is weirder?
Which is weirder? Ooh,
now that is like a loaded term, I know, but I'm talking weird as in like the sort of weirds that you kind of want from sci-fi.
Yeah.
But what would you say?
I don't know. I think probably modern sci-fi is probably... They probably go out of the way more these days to make it like more believable and try and line it up with real science. It's not very often that you get a film or a TV series where it's completely like weird and different physics or different science to what we understand and doesn't make sense. I think there's a lot of kind of trying to keep it real and close to reality, whereas kind of back in the day there probably wasn't the data there. We didn't have the information about technology that we've got now and about the universe that we've got now, so they were kind of guessing on a lot of things, and I suppose that would kind of make it seem weird now, because they thought, you know, if you're making a film and you're having like Mars full of life and like human like people there, it might seem a bit weird now with the information we've got now.
Well,
and kind of their thoughts about technology and stuff that you probably got vastly wrong back in the day and stuff. And
well, that being said,
it probably wasn't weird back in the day, but it probably is weird now looking back.
I'd argue against that. I think science fiction was weird then, and then is still weird now when you're rewatching it now.
Oh, when you're rewatching it,
like,
yeah.
Because the reason why I ask it is I've recently saw a series called Farscape. Farscape aired from 1999 to 2003 and then wrapped up with the Peacekeeper Wars in 2004.
Yeah.
Now that series was so incredibly weird. It was even weird back in the day. Like I remember when I was like 7, tuned in to watch an episode, like thinking, okay, yeah, I'll check this out. Yeah, I'll check this out. There's some other space stuff I like, so I went to look at the space stuff. And looking at that, I thought, oh, there's this alien that got melted from the inside out, and the screams sort of like disturbed me as a young child. So I didn't end up watching it until like 20 years later. So I ended up watching it recently because on the YouTube channel, they've uploaded all the episodes, so you can watch it for free. Please do that. It's rare that happens, but they're doing it a lot more now. I think Lex also, another weird one, has also done the same. Other TV series have started
to do that. There's a few
popping
up on YouTube now. And there's
from the official stuff, not like a bootleg upload, which that just shows there's like legitimacy behind like the YouTube delivery system. But yeah, watching that, I was like, hold up, this is so incredibly weird. My second thought was, I really liked it because it wasn't like anything we have nowadays.
No.
And as much as I love that, the serious science fiction you have in, say, Battlestar, where it really is like hard sci-fi to an extent with Battlestar, I know, but especially compared to the day, it's very much hard sci-fi.
Yeah. And
in a way, Battlestar helped to spear a trend to make science fiction more realistic and more believable, more grounded.
Yeah.
But that came at the expense of other science fiction like Farscape, where, yes, I want all your seriousness and your sort of like adherence to science and science fiction.
Yeah.
True, yeah, I like that. But what about all the weird stuff? Because sometimes you just need something that's completely off the wall, because you're not going to get that anywhere else in any other genre.
That's true, you don't.
Maybe with fantasy, and maybe you could argue that Farscape is more science fantasy than science fiction.
Although I think they kind of get away with it a little bit in Farscape, where it starts off fairly normal, like an experimental space mission. He goes up and he ends up being transported somewhere that he's not expecting, but he ends up in like a parallel universe, so you can kind of say that things are different there to our universe. So
what? They did not waste any time. It was like less than 10 minutes and bang, who's already there?
Yeah.
Which, pacing is absolutely breathtaking of that series. But yes.
But then I think with that show you said about weird, I think it got progressively weirder and darker as it went on. And they did explore some more extreme themes and some extreme things happening in the show. and like you say, that made that different to kind of the other sci-fi that was watching at the time. When you're watching Star Trek or you're watching Battlestar or whatever, and Farscape was just very, very different, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, no, and we needed that. We needed the more off the wall stuff. Like Star Trek did have weirdness, but it became comfortable and complacent in its weirdness. It's like, right, this is the sort of stuff that we do, and the more they did it, the more that became what they did. That became their new normal. So breaking out of that, the more they stay within that cocoon, the harder it is for them to get out of that. So if you wanted something that was just completely off the wall, where would you go? And Farscape was one of those.
Yeah, I mean, everybody at that time was like going into the beginning of computer graphic animation, effects and
Babylon
CGI
5
and
was
stuff.
the big
and like
component for that.
Farscape used like the Jim Henson Creature Company for like quite a lot of the aliens and
Yes.
things and effects and stuff. So they were
Yes.
kind of still being a little bit old school.
But they still used a lot of the CG for space stuff. So they had
They did a bit both.
Yeah, a good mix, a very good mix.
Red Dwarf at the time obviously was still using a lot of model and physical practical effects, but a lot of them like Star Trek and Battlestar and like the others were starting to get on, like all the new effects were starting to be able to bring in and work on and create, and different technology coming out to help allow us to do that.
So my question with that is, why, let's say Doctor Who, say like 20 years ago, with like early New Who, if you want to call that New Who, I don't know, but think like your 2000s Who. That had some weird, some episodes that were completely weird.
Yeah.
But that was part of their charm. That was part of like, oh, this is a bit bonkers. This is a bit of that. And you go back to the older stuff.
Yeah.
Completely weird stuff.
That was very weird as well. At the time.
But it had to be, because it was just, they're making most of the budget. But it was also the sort of stories that, why would you not tell if you had a science fiction setting like that, But started with, say, Matt Smith's era going forward, I feel that there was a bit of an aversion to being weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
The worst thing to happen to Doctor Who, in my opinion, is that it got popular.
Yeah.
That's a bit
Doesn't
of
always help.
It's a bit of like what do you mean by that? But if it got more popular, that means it's like, all right, we've gained all this audience. We don't want to alienate them. We don't want to be too weird. Like,
No.
Bro, that's why we were here in the first
We've got
place.
to make it bigger, better, shinier, spend more money on it, because the big fan global audience out there expect it, and expect it to be up there with like Marvel and DC and the latest sci-fi that's out.
But in the contrary to that,
Doctor Who has never been that.
it's never
to
been
that
that,
point.
and it gained its audience that it did get through not being that. So why have all of a sudden is it like we need to be that? Like I look at Farscape and other series like that, and then I look at Doctor Who. I look at Doctor Who and I think it's not weird enough.
Yeah, it's kind
Science
of lost
fiction,
its way a little bit.
Science fiction needs to be weird. Like it needs to have that sort of.
It's always the
edge.
arena, isn't it? In sci-fi and horror, especially, fantasy a little bit, but sci-fi and horror, where you can tell those kind of weird, strange, odd stories, and it works and it's palatable because it's in those genres and in those arenas, which you can't really do in other areas. But I think sci-fi and horror especially allows you to do that.
Yeah, almost like there's a taboo against weirdness. Like, the more science fiction has been accepted into popular culture, the less that the more weird side of science fiction has been accepted within the whole genre of science fiction. Like, it's gained popularity. Science fi it's gained popularity at the expense of the really out there stuff.
Yeah.
And personally, I think that's a big shame. I think that's a big shame. Like Star Trek, I think, has played it way too safe, relying on too many conventions. It's like, oh no, there's this thing that's going to destroy the world. Every season. And to be honest, I get sick of it.
Yeah. There is too much, in certainly now and certainly in previous years, where it's been the same things recycled over and over again, isn't it? Somebody gets kidnapped, they have to be saved, or the world's in danger and has to be saved, and kind of not much else on the edges or in between.
Yep.
And it does get a bit boring when you're just watching the Earth save for the 8th time.
Yeah. Just think the property prices on Earth must have plummeted after the 7th crisis.
Yeah, you'd think
Who'd want to live
yeah.
there?
Yeah, to get everybody to disappear, wouldn't you have to then go to another planet? But yeah, I think they need to be a bit more intelligent and a bit more wise, and probably give more writers and screenwriters a chance probably to get in and do stuff that's slightly more risky, that is the weirder stuff that might not appeal to a big global audience, but
you
it
know
doesn't
what you
need to do
you know
well.
what you need, now hear this out, Dave, because I don't think this has ever been done before. A season of around 20 to 22 episodes with less budget per episode.
Right, yeah.
I don't think that's ever been done before. So, you have more episodes in order to give more writers and directors a chance, more ideas a chance, and you're not spending as much money on per episode, so you can air them for longer and it be in the public consciousness for longer,
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if networks decided to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of problems just lately, and in recent times, where a series will get 3 episodes or 6 episodes, and then the next thing it's cancelled, and it's just not given time for people to find it and watch it.
It's lucky if it's even given an episode at all before it's cancelled.
And then also it's not given time to breathe, so the characters and the story can develop, and we can actually have a bit of pacing rather than just one pace and it stops. And giving people the chance, they're just not doing that, and then you get this thing as well where it's got a limited run of episodes, and then it has a limited run of time on the streaming platform or channel, whatever it's on, then it disappears, and then people can't find it apart from the people that have heard of it, that they can then perhaps buy it on DVD or Blu-ray later and then rediscover it. And that's why we've had kind of things that have become cult classics later in like recent times, because people just found it later.
2 years between seasons. That's enough time for you to forget about something and lose all investment.
Else.
Yeah. That's why people are sticking around. But again, the whole ranting about the whole ecosystem could be its own thing, but I feel that is part of the problem. The modern ecosystem of science fiction or TV in general does not allow science fiction TV to be weird in the way that once made it great.
No, that's right.
We need to make science fiction weird again.
And even if you've got a series that, even if people do see it and watch it and it's doing quite well, there's still people that can decide, no, we're not going to do anymore, even though it's still popular, people still like it, and even when there's plans already starting being written down for the following season, something thinking like, oh, we're not putting the money into that now, we're not doing it anymore, and just like everything just gets wasted. And that's a big problem as well. Even it's one thing when something isn't successful and cancel it, but sometimes things are bubbling along quite well, and it's ready to take off for the next series, and it disappears.
Yeah, how does anything get made in this day and age?
Yeah, I mean, very, very difficult, and you're very lucky if you get a successful show, and then you're very lucky if they let you carry on with that as well. Because success doesn't mean that you can keep making it.
No.
Which is crazy.
Announcing it doesn't always mean that it's going to be made at this point.
You're waiting so long, and it's like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. It's like, what?
Yeah, just like, oh, well, by the way, we're announcing this thing. At this point, I would not believe it until it's actually properly released.
Yeah. And what gets me the worst is, the biggest kind of thing that's really sad and the biggest wastage is when they actually record a film or big parts of a film or big parts of a series, and then nobody ever sees it. They're just like, oh, we're just going to waste all that time and money we put into this, and we could tidy it up and put it out, and people could still enjoy it and it would continue the story. And they're just like, no, we're not bothered, we'll just put it in the bin and forget about it.
Right off as a tax expense.
Yeah, that's really annoying as well, when it's actually been made and you're not allowed to watch it.
I have a feeling this will
That's
not be
crazy.
This isn't the first. I don't think we spoke about this, but it probably won't be the last
No,
either.
no. I think
But,
it's going to be a
yeah.
continuing issue for a little while, isn't it?
Science fiction needs to be weird. It needs to take more risks, and the current slate of at least big franchise science fiction, I feel, just hasn't stepped up to the plate. Like
Yeah.
Star Trek is resorting to this whole like save the world thing. Star Wars has relied on more on like nostalgia and previous existing characters as opposed to going somewhere new, and Doctor Who has just become a victim to its own popularity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are my thoughts.
I would agree.
Stargate never had a chance. Dear. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think everything that we've said there, I think is a very good point, and it'd be nice if it was acted upon and common sense prevailed, and we could start giving
Talk about
things more of a
executives here.
chance.
Common
But,
sense.
yeah, it's not. It isn't very common and prevalent, isn't it, amongst executives, unfortunately, a lot of the time. But
Knows what
common
they
sense.
feel makes money. Even though you would think that making content that people would want to watch would
Yeah.
make money, but
Yeah.
what do I know? What do I know? I'm just
Yeah.
just a guy who likes to watch science fiction, and so are you.
Yeah.
So you know what? We're just complete idiots compared
Just
to
make
them.
good stuff, put it out, and it will work.
Yeah.
It'll make money.
Put
That's
it out. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Make it and put
Yeah.
it out. So both of those things you need to do.
And also, if you get like a small group of people that are frightened of it, that like complain about it, they don't want it to be on anymore, don't like kind of jump on that ship straight away and pull it. Just because some people don't like something doesn't mean that everybody doesn't like it. And I think sometimes there can be a bit of toxicity online that people see that doesn't help either, in terms of like shows not continuing as well. Even
Yeah.
if a show's done quite well, the online kind of thing could give the impression it hasn't done so well, or that it's not working, but that could just be a lot of people moaning that don't realise there's a lot of people that do like it, and actually the thing they're complaining about hasn't got any basis, and it's not quite right.
Look at the Odyssey.
Yeah.
People were moaning about that, and just like, well, we've just gone and seen it, and the majority of consensus of people after it's come out, people who have seen it, be like, yeah, it's really good. Before, people were like, it's going to be terrible, blah 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 blah. Yeah, it's going to be terrible, blah 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 blah. And
Yeah, things just get attacked before they're even seen, don't they?
yeah,
It's just ridiculous.
It's cathartic, and it's the internet. But you know what? We're better than that, Dave. We're
Yeah.
better than that.
Yeah, you always have to give things a chance.
Hmm.
If you look at it and it looks like your sort of thing, or it sounds good, or like the type of thing you might like, give it a go.
That said-
if there's a few people online saying, "Oh no, it's rubbish," "Oh no, it doesn't work," "Oh I don't like it," just don't listen to it.
That said, I feel you also need to not rely just on the main handful of streamers to
No.
recommend you things. I feel you need to go look for things
Look
you
for
will
things.
want to watch.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Because maybe that thing where it actually would appeal to a small group of people, like a
Yeah.
Venn diagram of 3 people. But if you're right in the middle of that,
Yeah.
you can have a good time.
Yeah.
There's plenty of niche
That's
series
it.
that
Yeah,
I
you don't want
enjoy.
to be relying on algorithms and letting AI and computers pick out what you want to watch. You do need to have to do, like you say, do some digging and discover things. Definitely.
Yeah, overall, I like weird science fiction, and I hope to see more of it.
Yeah, let's have some more of that.
Yes, we'd like it. You make more of it.
Yeah. Alan Partridge to that.
Yeah, well, I usually just quote you two quoting Alan
Yeah,
Partridge, so yeah,
usually.
cool.
Yeah, I
Well,
like it.
have a good day.